Ghost Recon Wildlands came out last week. Bertz, you sunk a lot of time into this. I know it was a game that you really wanted to like get the full picture of and not rush a review out. So what'd you think of it?
It's pretty good. It's an interesting evolution of the Ghost Recon brand, I think.
Okay.
You know, it's always been sort of a... You had little micro sandboxes that you were playing around in. So you had the space to make tactical decisions, but they were really discreet, you know, and you'd move on from one to the next. This is the biggest world I think I've seen in a shooter ever.
What was the last Ghost Recon game?
Future Soldier.
Okay.
That was like 5 years ago. Remember, that was the one that started with a horrible E3 demo where like those four dudes turned into an invisible caterpillar when they got on each other's back.
Oh, God.
Human Centipede.
Yeah,
they
call it. They expanded
at least it was
idea.
invisible though. So.
Wasn't there some free-to-play version as well?
But that's like older stuff, you know. Like that was based on like the Advanced Warfighter generation.
Gotcha. So now they're going open world, and not just open world, but the most open world Ubisoft's ever made.
It's big, man. Yeah. I mean, it's up there, and the game just kept going. I can't think of another shooter I put this much time into for a review.
Like how much are we talking here?
Over 50, 60 hours.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Is it fun?
Yeah, I liked it. I ended up liking it.
High pitch, but yes.
There are caveats. Yeah, there are things that, a lot of quick fixes that would make this game a lot better if they're going to do a big patch.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of easy things to fix in this game.
Yeah.
And then there's just some other stuff where, I think you need to bring creativity to your problem solving in this game. If you just do the same thing for every single outpost that you take, it's going to get boring.
You're solving everything with a bullet?
Well, yeah, you're still a tier 1 soldier.
No, of course.
We're not giving hugs here.
So you played with Jeffem and Reiner, right?
Jeffem, Reiner, JV for a lot of it, yeah.
God, JV.
This is the basic squad here.
This is where we were having
JV was more of an antagonist.
Lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay. I'm as helpful to you playing Ghost Recon as JV was right now?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're better because you're not blowing up our helicopters and stealing
what did he
rides.
do? How did he blow up a helicopter? What happened?
He called down a mortar strike on it when we were out in the middle of the desert, and then he took the one motorcycle that there was
and
drove off and left us there.
That's pretty good.
It's really funny. The game keeps track of like how tactical you're being. And I finished the game with 100% tactical. I was really proud of that. But JV's was like down in the 30s, I think.
Wait, what does it mean 100% tactical?
Like you can play the game like Rambo if you want, or like a crazy mercenaries just drop on the base and guns start firing, or you can be very strategic about the way you're moving against bases and use stealth, like
let me
plan your attacks.
Okay. Close your eyes, Hanson.
Please,
let me paint a scenario for you.
Please.
Picture Jeff
Marchiafava, so handsome,
Bertz, JV and I moving in on a small encampment, this hostile territory, sniper towers, people looking out over every little angle. Bertz is lying in the grass.
I got the drone up.
He sends up the drone. He's spotting people, tagging them for us so we know where they are. And then all of a sudden,
a lot of team
the
chat?
alert goes off.
Oh, no.
Bertz, who's been taking 2 to 3 minutes to tag things, says, "Who the hell did that?" No one owns up. But Jeff Marchiafava and I are laying in the grass next to him.
Naturally.
Yeah.
JV Gwaltney, out there, already shooting guys, trying to get to the objective point.
Not
a team player.
No.
At all.
Just blowing it.
So he's just the mad dog on this A team.
He's the Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then all your tactics are thrown out. I'm sitting up there like marking, okay, we can enter the base through this side, door that I don't know why there's a side door in a fortified base, but let's use it.
Sure.
And let's disarm the alarms before we go in. Nope. JV's just running gung-ho right at the...
And playing
sirens
with these two,
blaring,
playing with
reinforcements coming in, just...
Yeah, I saw like how tactical you could be, and I think that's a real strength to this game of like, wow, we can be silent assassins in this and really kind of quickly kind of take down their defenses and get to our objective point, and they don't even know we're there, right? Whereas with JV, as annoying as that would be, it also added a different element of fun, right?
No, it does. It's fun too. The game, you can goof off in it with 4 people and have some.
It does become, it adapts dynamically. Where, like you said, they're sending in different troops, different helicopters coming in left and right, and that's fun too. Where the objective's blown, but at the same time, the action gets upped a little bit, and we still find a way to solve it in the end, right?
Does it feel like a more tactical co-op Far Cry?
It's different than Far Cry. I think Far Cry has its own identity. There are similarities if you want to go on a checkbox. There's a rebel force that you're kind of helping get stronger as the game goes on.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There's rebels in jails in the bases that you can unlock, and they can help you out if you need a little bit of reinforcements.
Fire the dragon.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff going on in the game, but for as much as it's open world Ubisoft, it didn't feel like Far Cry to me.
Okay. Jeff, did you have a good time with this thing?
Yeah. I enjoyed what I played with these guys. I think co-op is really the key to it. And the little bit that I played of single player, I'm also coming off of, putting 55 hours into Horizon for a review. And so I am already a little burned out on that kind of open world design of, okay, now I'm going to, 20 more icons on my map. I'm going to do each one of these and get, this satisfying little reward from it. But when you're playing with a group of friends, and you get to screw around and come up with different tactics and stuff, that's when it's fun.
I'm still trying to figure out what the point of this open world is. Is it like Metal Gear Solid 5 where the world's huge, but you're just taking a helicopter right to the spot over and over again anyway?
So basically the setup is the Mexican cartel has basically turned Bolivia into a narco state.
Okay.
And you're after the U.S. Embassy gets bombed and your main DEA agent in the region gets kidnapped, you go in, like the U.S. sends in their 4 ghosts, and you're going to systematically dismantle the cartel operation. And that means everything from smuggling, all the places they get the drugs in and out. There's covert submarines that they use and stuff like that. There's the production facilities, so that's the coca fields. That's the places where they kind of refine the cocaine, all that kind of stuff. There's the influence that's I don't know if you know what a narco corrido is. It's this folk music that's developed around cartel lifestyles. It's like gangster folk in Mexico.
What?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
There's influence like that and corrupt church officials, stuff like that. And then there's the security forces, how the cartel money goes into the local Bolivian forces. So you have to dismantle, there's 20 figureheads, and they're each in different regions. And you pick away at them. And once you take enough of them down, you can go after El Sueño, who is the badass, tattooed, deep-voiced villain of the game.
So is that Dreams?
Yeah, the Dream.
Ah, there we go. So is there a lot of roaming between these different key points then?
Yeah, you really want to bring a helicopter.
Are there animals in this world?
Yeah.
Is it fun to play with them?
They're kind of just more visual. It's not Far Cry-esque. You're not hunting to make a wallet for your ghost.
Okay. So this all sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you think the Ghost Recon fans are going to be pissed? Are they already?
I think some are, definitely. Change is always hard for fans that have gotten really used to a particular play style, but I think there's enough of the Ghost Recon identity there for me, someone who's played every single game in the series, and I own Ghost Recon t-shirts. I'm invested, I think there's enough of that identity there. I do think they can do some refining to the highest difficulty level to make it more Ghost Recon.
Okay.
That's what we were playing on, right, at the end?
We played for a little bit, yeah.
Wait, so how would they do it? Just make it more challenging?
There's tactical options that I just don't know why they didn't give you in the game. So there's a day-night cycle, but you can't decide to advance time at any given point. You're just left to the whims of what's going on in the world. And there's some bases that it just makes sense. I want to do this at night, or I want to do this escort mission during the day so I can see people coming in.
Well, you just have a seat in the open world and talk to your buddies, get to know JV, get to know Jeffem a little bit finally, and just pass the time.
There's plenty of that downtime anyway. You don't need more. Right? I mean, a lot of times your objectives are 4 kilometers away, and you don't want the vehicles aren't great in this game. You don't want to spend a lot of time driving.
Okay.
Just you want to grab a chopper. But there's little things like that, giving you a little more time. Refining the stealth identification, I think, is a big deal. If someone recognizes a bullet in the next 5 seconds and you're 300 meters away on a ridge hiding in the ground underneath cover, they shouldn't immediately know where you are. There's some things like that I think they could refine, and it will feel a little more like old Ghost Recon where
So is the lesson here, the takeaway is, if you want co-op open world tactics, strong emphasis on co-op, maybe even still wait a little bit for them to patch out some of these games?
It's still a fun game right now, and I'd be surprised. I'd love to know how many people are going to finish this game because it is so long.
Mm-hmm. Is it work to its advantage? Does it feel like this crazy epic narrative, or is it just the same things over and over again?
I was getting attached to the the progress I was making as a character, unlocking new skills. And then they also just have like weapon crates hidden in environments where you go up to that. Like we found a really awesome shotgun in an underground base that you could have just completely missed. But I don't know if that's unique or if you could find it elsewhere, but we found it in that instance. I ended up rocking that for like the next 3 hours. That kind of stuff's cool, right? That's the progress I was latched onto. 100% disinterested in the story that was going on.
Mhm.
A lot of it was just returning to this same house, and there's like an interrogation. You know, you escort someone there. The lady in there interrogates this person. You get a little bit more narrative and maybe another lead, and you go off on that.
Yeah, there's some interesting characters that you're kind of hunting down.
Yeah.
That makes it kind of fun and more of a like micro narrative. But the overall story, I mean, it's a slow burn.
Oh boy, how's the writing? I just see a lot of people.
It's super overwrought.
awful.
It's terrible.
Jesus. All right, burying that lead.
I mean, if you like the F-bomb,
Yeah.
it's all over the place.
What kind of stuff do they say?
Just put effing in front of everything.
So this is
basically.
like in-game dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're just lining up shots and stuff, the characters will try and just have some one-liners.
There's a lot of that terrible one-liner stuff. Like every time you're scouting a base, there'll be, I spot one guy over here, I spot one over there, and baby makes 3. You hear that probably 200-300 times when you
Yeah,
play this.
What?
There was one Intel video that I liked too, where they were kind of introducing the characters, and then they showed surveillance footage of someone getting shot in the head point blank, and she went, "Get that guy a Band-Aid." It's like,
Yeah,
this
there's
is
a lot
the
of
middle
that.
of an Intel briefing. Okay,
And baby makes intel. Good God. But
Yeah,
you can
it's not
overlook
good.
all that? Are you just focusing
Yeah,
on...
I've gotten used to bad jokes from Ubisoft, to be honest. Like, playing through Far Cry games, this game has that god-awful DJ that's cracking jokes the whole time, too. You can turn the radio off. I highly recommend you do that.
immediately.
Just like the guy in Far Cry 4, you're just
Right.
like, come on, no.
No. Steep. No.
Yeah,
no more.
You are not Rockstar. Quit trying to be Rockstar.
Right,
like
right.
Their cynical parody of American culture or global culture.
Right.
They know how to do it. Ubisoft, for being as global of a company as they are,
Yeah.
that's not their strength.
Is it an interesting setting, even if they don't handle it in the
I
most delicate
love the
way?
setting.
Okay.
Honestly, I love it. Every region is very different. It's a very biodiverse country.
Okay.
So you're going from like rocky mountains to jungle mountains to like swamp territories to these arid salt flats that are really unique that I've never seen in a game before.
Huh.
Coca fields that are kind of rolling up hills. It's a very diverse territory. And the game, if you're playing on PC and you're using that NVIDIA Ansel, you can catch so many gorgeous shots.
Huh. Oh, damn.
Yeah, I was impressed with the scale of it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like when JB would take our stuff and you ended up having to run up all the way up the mountain, like a mile. It's like, wow, this is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really didn't cut back on just a little round going over. It's like you really do feel like you're scaling a full mountain, and you really don't know that when you compare it to other games until you're actually there, and it's like this is significant.
Yeah.
Way bigger than stuff in Breath of the Wilds and other games like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool. Like Bertz said, a lot of variety in that terrain too.
Jeff, is there any chance you'd ever go back to this game?
with co-op partners.
Okay. With
I'd
the
still-
right
I'd
partners.
still keep
It
on
really is
playing,
better.
sure.
You can play single player, we should say. You have AI
Mhm.
squad mates.
The same story, I take it. It's not a separate
Same
mode.
exact story.
Okay.
You want to soup up the sync shot ability immediately if you're playing, because that
Soup up
allows
the sync shot?
sync shot is like where you can mark 4 targets and they're ready to be shot, and as soon as you shoot, they'll take down their targets.
Gotcha.
And it
okay.
really helps clearing out bases. You can kind of sit back and pick away the elements that are a little bit further away from the other soldiers, so
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
notice the dead bodies.
All right.
It's a really strong tactic, but you miss out on the fun of like you'll never be able to sit on a 50 cal on a chopper, or like you can't do some of the cool diversionary stuff that you can pull off in this game. Like have one guy drive a Santa Blanca truck into the base because they'll think it's theirs, sneak into the back and like try to grab a target while everybody else is sniping from the mountains that are surrounding the area.
And giving directions as they're going. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, don't go yet. He's facing you. Like, wait a couple seconds.
Yeah, those are the great moments in this game, and they're only there for co-op.
And there's a big hook kind of similar to Mercenaries, the Deca 52 or whatever,
Mhm.
where you have a screen where it shows all of your targets, and then you take one down, and they get marked off or it turns red or whatever. But it's like there's a lot of targets to take down.
It's
So
so big.
that's a nice bit of progress where you don't have the narrative, but you do have those beats that you're kind of hunting these guys.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
works.
Cool. What
And-
didn't we give in this thing?
825. And I mean, I think it's going to get better with some patches. Like I said, I think there's a lot of easy stuff they can fix to kind of cut down on some repetition, give you more tactical variety. And I mean, bang for your buck for a shooting game, for a single player or co-op experience. Like, there's a lot here.
Okay.
There's a lot here.
Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can click right here if you want to subscribe and listen to the audio version of the full show. Full episodes air every Thursday, and they feature Game Informer editors sitting around talking about the biggest reviews, previews. We talk about exclusive impressions of Game Informer's cover stories. We have long-form developer interviews, everything that's great in gaming. So every Thursday, be sure to check it out.